Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Crusaders of Might and Magic. Right now you're watching the update with the version of the music like I had it on my CD copy, the Russian localized CD copy. You know the drill. If you wanna check out how the music played here according to GOG, then please follow the link in the description to the alternate version. But if you're staying here, then I applaud your taste, because obviously this is much better. I'm not gonna say anything else after this about the music, but throughout this half of the update in this level where this music plays, please just take note of how the calmer, more atmospheric, more ambient kind of tune fits the location that we are in more than it does in the other video. Well, I guess to compare you would have to watch that as well, but well, do as you wish. But anyway, back to the actual gameplay. Well, I've got to admit that there ain't much going on in the gameplay in this one. There isn't going to be any NPCs or anything like that in this session. There is just this dungeon that we have to get through. This long catacomb dungeon, which isn't actually quite as long as I always remember it being. Because this thing is like the centerpiece of the game for me here, to be quite honest. Because you need to cross it back and forward 3 times throughout the game. And it separates 2 halves of the game world, so to speak. So every time, because I mean maybe it's not as long as I remembered it, but it's pretty dangerous, especially it gets even more dangerous in later parts. And it really feels like you're making a journey. Like when you're walking, you recognize the places, you measure how close you are to whatever side you try to reach at that time. Like when you remember the previous part, like the bricked in, like the first part of the dungeon that we had in the previous video, I guess, before we entered these caves here. Trinket, not even a mana crystal, looks the same, doesn't cost anything, so whatever, useless. But yeah, when you emerge from the caves into that place, it's like the home stretch, and it feels exactly like any other home stretch in a long journey. Like if you're riding a car from your summer home, which I don't know if many of you can relate to this kind of experience, but like say the car trip takes 2 hours, and when you enter the familiar part of the city where you know like in 15 minutes you'll be home after weeks and weeks in the summer home. Something like that, you know, just I appreciate the feeling of the journey that this place gave, even though objectively I realized that it's really terrible game design to have this really long linear corridor here that you have to traverse several times back and forth. Although my biggest dream as a wannabe game designer, which I am someday totally going to be, I don't know, I will try anyway. My dream, my ultimate goal, I guess, and the thing I want to do most is to kind of integrate this sort of feeling, something in games that will produce this sort of feeling. Like, you know, games are geared towards just being purely entertaining, and there is a lot of sense in that, obviously, because you want to sell games, but the virtual reality and the games, they can give you so much wider scope of experiences, like not just some roller coaster, which is pretty much like watching a movie and pressing some buttons. And you have the ability to invoke this feeling of journey, the other feelings in the player, all sorts of stuff, and people just don't take advantage of it. But it's really tough to do it without making the game feel like a complete chore and alienating the players so that they just quit and don't see the point, because, you know, all these memories are from when I was a kid, and of course I didn't really have much choice in games back then because I only had what my parents bought me. By the way, I don't know what this cart is doing here. Huh. Maybe this place is intended like some sort of transportation between the parts of the world. I don't know. But yeah, I didn't have much choice, and I pretty much was obligated to complete every game I had sooner or later. So I trudged through, and I suffered through some of the parts which I wouldn't probably played. Well, actually, I don't know. At this point, if a new game did this to me, I don't know if I actually would give up on it. But a little prelude, interlude, whatever. That guy over there, let me just conquer the geometry there. That guy is one of the scariest freaking things in the game. This is what I assume is the earth elemental. There is also ice and fire elementals later. which are pretty much retextures. But this guy can combo your ass. You cannot block his attacks. He does a shit ton of damage, and he does not always get stun locked. And if there is more than one of them, you are pretty much screwed. So, yeah. Those guys are fun, and you encounter them in these dark, scary caves, which only adds to the experience, I feel. So this is kind of cool. Also, what is this cupboard doing here? This is a very strange place, these catacombs. But yeah, back to my philosophizing about game design, because this is the best place to do it, the best occasion in this game, because this is like the catalyst to all my ideas about it, this level. I don't know, I really hope it is possible to engage the player enough so that they want to do these things that are difficult and tiresome, and therefore actually can have an emotional effect, unlike just romping through an easy game which is designed for you being able to easily beat it and just have fun and not have any trouble like modern games are. By the way, I don't even have to mention these mushrooms all float in midair. And of course the texture in the mushrooms, but I think I look at the mushrooms texture later somewhere. I'll point it out, of course, I will be looking at it for a while. It's just another example of the... Well, I guess you could see a lot of it just while I'm running by the mushrooms. Level up, hooray. But at some point here I stop and take a closer look. Yeah, as you can guess, this is a post-commentary video again, because I had so many failed tries here thanks to a couple places that I will point out, that if I was trying to commentate the whole time, my throat would probably die by this point. Ah yes, here is the place. Good segue. So yeah, check out the texture. On the top, on the bottom, you can see the texture like as it is, and you can probably guess how it was intended to be mapped on the mushrooms, but they didn't really give a shit, I think, at this point. I don't know how this got past any sort of testing, but yeah, it did. So whatever. Now we're getting to another part which is fun, very fun, and a good example of a difference between the hard difficulty and other difficulties. This is platforming. And on normal, or at least on easy, I don't know if normal because I don't remember, but there is bridges, wooden planks all across these little things here. But on hard here, you have to jump, and so many fun things can happen. Let me just demonstrate for a second. You can hit some sort of invisible wall or ceiling, just like we did as Naglfar in Blade of Darkness recently, and fall down with no fault of your own. Or you can grip the platform as if that helps. At this point you cannot climb up, you can only, curiously enough, turn around like crawl Assassin's Creed style. I don't know why this is in the game, you never have to do this, and it never helps in the game because you can never climb up if you are stuck like this. You can just rotate around the platform and then fall and die. So yeah, ain't that fun? No it ain't. Glad to clear that up. But thankfully these platforms are somewhat evenly spaced and are placed so that you can pretty much easily jump across by default if you hold the button forward and jump, so also that skeleton fell down. Now what redeems this place is of course knocking down skeletons and some loot. You get a ring of quickness here, which is another item that increases our speed, which I'll treasure and never take off unless I get a better one. And of course, yeah, knocking down skeletons. This is like the one place where it is viable as a strategy. I have no idea. I think maybe you get the experience as they die. I think I have checked using my character screen, but I don't remember the results of that check, so excuse me, but it's not like this experience is vital. Sometimes in this game it's better to just avoid enemies, although it's not too often that happens. Although some of these skeletons do drop stuff, and you don't get that stuff if you throw them down, but usually the best they would drop is a lesser healing potion. Well, I guess, no, it's just a healing potion. Time to set my terminology straight. The light green one, the sucky one that we have got right now, is just a healing potion, and the deep green one, the better one they are saving in multiple numbers, that is a greater one. That's the healing potion. And the lesser one is slightly like light blue, introduced at the end of the game, which is even worse than the normal ones, so yeah, I mentioned them before. But yeah, so it's not too much of a choice when presented with the option of knocking people down. This is like the best thing in games. All the way through this game and into like Dark Messiah and whatever game after that lets you do that as well. Here's another chest. Stone skin. I have never seen any real difference after casting stone skin in the damage that I receive. So I'll probably never cast it, but here it is, just if you want it. Yeah, almost fell down there. Can skip a couple platforms here, and there's a bunch of loot here. Better armor. An empty crate for no reason. And a better weapon, finally. Blade of the Burning Heart. Let's check our damage output. 21 with a hammer. Let's take and equip the Burning Heart blade. Throw this away. And it's 30. This is enough so that now the regular skeletons die in 2 hits instead of 3, and that is noticeable change. This is really satisfying in this game because when you upgrade your weapons, sometimes luck has it so that the enemies aren't immediately stronger as well, because enemies do get stronger as you go on the same types of enemies even. So just the feeling of having to do less hits to kill people is really great. And one of those really simple pleasures that this game gets pretty much almost accidentally, I believe. Despite all the shortcomings. Yeah, 2 hits, and you get this fanciful fire particle effect as well. You guy, I hate you guys. Don't need the long sword. I'm not picking up any weapons for further selling in the future, because before the next merchant there is a section where people drop weapons that cost 220, and those are the only ones worth picking up. And of course the shields that I'm carrying, because they are more efficient cost to space in inventory. Alright, this is the second part of the Catacombs. The music here is universal between both versions, so at this point it doesn't matter which one you're watching. But it is also, well, there's a very difficult part in this area. Of course I will point it out, because when do I ever not point things out? It has to do with the stone golems. It's coming up right here. First of all, check out this place. I love it because it's large, cavernous, whatever. And actually doesn't look too embarrassing. So it's cool. And it has a bunch of secrets. Like, you can obviously, well, not obviously, actually, you wouldn't expect that, but you can drop down into the cave part and you can get stuff. But here, by the way, mana crystals, different icon, doesn't combine in inventory. Useless. Whatever. Screw your mana crystals. But yeah, you can drop down here when you would expect probably to be an abyss down here. But there's stuff on this side. There's that chest, nothing really down here with this guy. But on the other side there's actually a passage to a neat little room that has a spell book nearly every time you go there. New one each time, so it's worth checking out. And you can't really even see it from this distance because it looks like a dead end, I think due to the fog that the level has. By the way, a little quirk of the torch spell, and I think pretty much every other spell that runs out in time. You cannot renew it while it is still active, so if I cast it right now it still would run out very soon. So I need to be in a safe spot, because if you're down here, when it runs out, you will not be able to see where to go to get out. The enemies, you will not be able to cast it because casting requires time. And yeah, the enemies will destroy you if that happens, so it's very fortunate that it ran out right here. I can go here and deal with these guys. That's the place with the spellbook down there. By the way, I will have to check out, but the spellbook icon, I think it actually looks like the actual book model in the game, like it was screenshotted from the model and the wrong texture on wrap. But as I will demonstrate in a second here after I deal with this guy, because he keeps coming back. Thankfully I've got them separated, because taking on 2 of them at once is a death wish. But yeah, the texture is really wrong on the book, and it isn't supposed to have any white parts on it, let's just say it like that. You will see the texture in a moment. I think, yeah, there's 3 of them now, and I ain't touching that with a 20-meter pole. Screw that. Just checking out if anyone is coming behind me. Now check out this. You see, there's the textures for all sides of the book in the the image that is plastered onto every side of the model. And I think the white sides, which are like the sides of the book, are actually in the icon when you buy and sell these stuff. So that's a cool little mistake. And I only noticed, believe it or not, I only noticed the fact that the books are textured wrong during this recording. But yeah, running from these guys, it ain't worth it. Even one-on-one, they can unexpectedly murder you. Actually, let me demonstrate using footage of one of my, well, several of my failed attempts here. So yeah, imagine how it would be to try to kill them when there's several of them. Well, obviously it is possible if you're very lucky, because enemies in this game get stuck, they just get stupid, and sometimes you can effectively hit one after another to keep them both away. Come on, jump on this freaking thing. But it's not advisable for a tourist to do that at night, under any circumstances. Oh, that guy shot me through the crates, awesome. But yeah, now we are to the... I guess if you count the part in the previous video, this is the third part of the Catacombs. There's a little portion of the cave still left, but this is a very mysterious part, and the music helps. Like, you don't have to check the other version, whatever the other version is, because as I said, this music is shared, universal, the same in both versions. And it's of course from Might and Magic 7, but I heard it here first, and it really fits this place. It makes it really mysterious, and it is a really mysterious place. The catacombs themselves, like, there's some evidence from some objects scattered there, like that cart and all the crates and stuff, that it's like supposed to be a transport route for normal people, almost, between this place and where the dwarves live before, because the dwarves live on the other side of the catacombs and just past the dusk wood. I'll show the map someplace in the future here in the update. There is some sort of chair and a pot, I don't know what that serves. By the way, here is where you go if you get to the glaciers, if you want to get to the glaciers, but this is locked. We go there later. Spoiler alert. Right now we have to go to the Duskwood area, the other exit from the catacombs. So actually, not every single time you cross the catacombs it's the same. Well, everything up to now is the same part, but the parts leading up to here, or depending on the direction you're going from here, are different, because the Duskwood and glaciers are different routes. By the way, here's a secret that I haven't found out throughout a lot of playthroughs, and when I found this out it was really obvious, so I don't know how I kept missing it for a lot of my playthroughs. But there's a bunch of things here, including floating money, better shield, which I think does not give you speed, so therefore I will not use it. As I explained, shields usually tend to give defense stats like resists, and when you use a shield it is useless because you just do not get damaged, you do not get hit. And if you do get hit, like when you get attacked by the golems and stuff, elementals I mean, well, same thing really, it's really not best idea to count on the shield to save you. That's the same armor I'm wearing, by the way. And also, to cross to the other side of these places you cannot just jump, because you will bonk your head on the ceiling and fall down. You have to use these crates here, like so. But yeah, the shields, sometimes they do give additional properties, additional stat bonuses and whatnot. And the Crusader shield might give some strength bonus or health bonus or something, I'm not sure. But it is not the speed bonus, and I want to accumulate as much speed as I can. So yeah, that's just going up for sale later. But yeah, as I said, this place is really strange. By the way, here's the map. There's, well, you can see there's the catacombs, where here we get Duskwood and Corantha, where the dwarves are. This is our journey in the future. This is locked as well. Alright, this was slightly awkward, but well, you have to bear with these kinds of situations when there's post-commentary. But yeah, what's the purpose of this part, this place? I have no idea. Those cells under those huge metal grates in the circular rooms above. They kinda felt like prison holding cells or something. We will get to them, they are actually just around the corner here. But this seems like some sort of... by the way, that's the key that opens the door. There's a couple potions in these barrels, speed potion and a greater healing one. But this place is really strange, I have no idea what it is. There's some rooms with... oh my god, it's like I'm my boss who talks like that pretty much. Rooms on the sides here, conveniently enough, that's the one that has money in it. They have like cots, beds on them, or like planks looking like beds. So it's also kinda reminds me of prisons, like small cells, but they don't have doors or anything, so I don't know. Maybe it is a prison. But maybe it's best to not put too much thought into this, because you know, this game and how it is designed. But something must have gone through the designer's mind when they were making this, because I mean, it's not like they are just kind of completely out of it and making this while not thinking anything. By the way, there is the place we're looking down from. They have to have been thinking something, even if they were making these places in a hurry, in a rush, and overlooking a lot of mistakes. Still, there is some sort of intent behind pretty much everything, or there should be at least. Maybe not all the decorations and not all the decorative objects and stuff, but you know, it would be interesting. There is a PlayStation version of this game which is different from this version, and I plan on maybe trying... I mean, last time I played it I got my ass absolutely handed to me by some sort of exploding dwarfs, but I plan on trying to give it another chance, use the PlayStation emulator and play it again. Maybe if there's difficulties I will select a lower one if I selected hard last time like I usually do. And it'll be interesting because I don't remember, I got to Koran thing there, I don't really remember any catacombs, to be quite honest. If there were, they were small and not really memorable. But it would be interesting to compare, and I think I might record that as well after all this is done. If I get the emulator working and get the ROM, get the music working, because I remember some troubles with the music in that game as well. I might record the blind, almost blind apart from like the first couple levels, let's play of the PlayStation version of Crusaders of Might and Magic, just to see, because from what I understand it's a better made game by far, even though when I tried playing it it seemed completely unfairly difficult. But maybe I just didn't get how to play it, so we'll see about that. And I guess it might be interesting to you as well if you like this let's play for how broken and badly designed this game is. You will see another version, like another imagining of the same game done by I guess another team for another platform. I think they were giving like the rough outlines, design directions, like Citadel. Well, the storyline and stuff like Citadel has to have some sort of naval theme. Like you saw the dolphins in the Citadel in this game, and the Citadel in the PlayStation version is even more... well, it has elements in design that are like related to sea and oceans and stuff. But here's the end. We are officially out of the catacombs and in Duskwood, which isn't really a forest in any way. By the way, is it just me or is there some sort of space warp going on here? Just look at the amount of space above the door, inside and outside. This is weird, but it's a good note to end this on because it's Crusaders in a nutshell. Next time, this freaking place, but I'll save all the ranting and explanation for that. So for now, thank you for watching and goodbye.